Hey, this is Neil from iPaintGirls.com and MasterEdit.net. Visit the websites for more tutorials on writing and drawing and painting and stuff. Let's get started. This tutorial is going to be about drawing a dragon. First thing we want to start with is some sort of outline, and so I actually had done this whole thing, but I didn't like the way it turned out so much, so I decided I'm just going to redo it. I'll just start over. So first thing I want to do then is I kind of want to imagine what he's going to be standing on. So just want to rough in something there. But actually, no. I think for me it's easier to start out with the biggest part of the body. So I'm going to start out with the breast, the chest, and the going to do the rib cage just like I would start with a human, but a lot longer chest and rib cage, and then obviously a lot longer neck. The neck is going to come way up here like so. Then the shoulders are going to kind of go downwards. So I want to talk about some things as I'm drawing this really quick, and that is things that you want to study to get good at drawing, dragons and this sort of thing, is any type of fantasy creature and just creature creation in general, is you want to, for dragons in particular first, you definitely want to draw a lot of reptiles. So study reptile anatomy, learn reptile anatomy well, learn to draw it well, and then I might actually have his tail just kind of get up. No, you're not that wild. Just kind of come over there somewhere. Right, so study the reptile anatomy, get very good at it, and then you definitely want to study. Just trying to think how I want this to be here. Study birds. But with reptile anatomy, you want to study everything about the reptile anatomy. How the tails attach from different reptiles, how the heads are, the head anatomy, all that. Just get really in depth with reptile anatomy. And this will actually help your creature creation in general. Just with reptiles and human knowledge alone will help tremendously. Then you want to study birds, like bird anatomy, because bird anatomy is very important too for just creature creation in general, and but for dragons especially, it's going to help you a lot. I'm not really sure what kind of head he's going to have. He can have this like big kind of mane thing, with the things on it. It could be more of aquatic, with the things like that. It could be big horns. It just depends. I'm just going to leave his head kind of generic for now. But bird heads, like the beaks and all that, talons, very important for dragons. And I got to think how far down. I can have his legs be up here closer, more like a human, more like a reptile, or I can have him way down here, which is done too, and which can look kind of cool. Thinking, let's see here. I almost wonder if I want his legs up higher and then just have him go behind. Study dogs and wolves, how their legs attach. It's kind of cool, and it give you some cool ideas for different things. Just try to study as many animals as you possibly can when it comes to creature creation and dragon. The other thing for dragons that's very important is going to be bats, mainly for their wings. Also study birds with the wings. Next thing is dinosaurs, especially pterodactyls, for their wings as well. Okay, and then now I'm going to have his wings come out right by where his shoulders are. There's so many different kinds of dragons too, and you can just start creating your own. And then study aquatic creatures. I'm going to have his wings kind of coming up and out of the picture. Aquatic creatures are good to study for many different reasons, because you might want to draw aquatic dragons, but they'll just give you a lot of cool ideas. Dinosaurs, mainly study also how the horns attach. That's really important. So that'll give you a really good basis for when you're going to draw horns, dragons with horns, and where the horns will come out of and everything. nose wing come way down there somewhere. Right, so that's kind of how you start it. You want it, it's kind of similar to how you would sketch, a human. You have the basic, the basic shapes there, and then you go from there. Then we start building on top of that. So hopefully I have enough room to add, or enough time to add some detail into him. I'm going to go to color balance. No, not color balance. I'm going to go to hue and saturation really quick just to colorize this image. That way I can draw on top of it much easier. Right, so let's see here. I'll go and get black. Oh, I already have black. I'll zoom in before I can get the head. And when I do the head, for me it's easier because it's going to be at a 3-point view, is to kind of have that shape right there. That helps me a lot when drawing a dragon. So it also helps when drawing any kind of like bird creature or anything like that as well. So let's see here. Kind of want his eye to be seen over there a little bit of that. Want it to be kind of bumpy and scaly. I want it to kind of be cool and mean at the same time. So its eye is going to be right about here somewhere. Can't see that eye over there because it's on the side of his head, but you kind of see the. Might even it's even too much actually. You would really just be able to see the bump, and then we'd kind of see this coming down. Right, so you kind of draw all that, and I got to decide, how do I want the horns to be? I'm going to have the horns kind of going back this way, and I don't have any details on them yet, but I will. So something like that, and then I think his head can kind of come back with some spikes. See, I'm mixing some different anatomy here, like bird anatomy with the beak and everything. But then also I'm going to start coming in with dinosaurs and lizards. So it all comes in, when you're drawing dragons, all that knowledge will come into play. This is more of a birdie dragon though. And I can have the kind of spiraling type of horns. So for horns, two other things to study are like gazelles and all those things that have horns, goats and so forth. Study how the different horns attach to the head and everything besides just dinosaurs. I'm almost thinking if I want him to be sort of I want to keep him a nice slim head, but maybe little spikes and stuff. Okay, so I'm trying to think how I want his mouth to be. I like the whole slim look, so I think his mouth is going to be slim as well. I'm going to have it closed. Almost like he's just wise up on his rock, thinking, contemplating his next move, because the human warriors have forced him to fight, even though he didn't want to, but they fear him because he's a dragon and he's different. And what I'm going to do here with his muscles is it's almost like abs, and so the abs are going to start coming down his body here, and then they would just come all the way down like that. I don't feel like drawing them all because that'd be too time consuming, but I'll draw like kind of where they would be appearing at, like so. And then with wings, if there was claws up there, you can do like that's why you want to study bats, how they have their claws and stuff in the wings, and that really comes in handy. So I think that'll be it for his face. Yeah, just something kind of basic. Don't want to get too detailed. That's kind of a cool dragon face though. I can definitely fix that up with another pass around. I kind of like this. I might actually use him, keep it and do something with it. Okay, so with the wings, you have, it's kind of like arms. Like, just study bat wings. You'll see they kind of have arms that come out, and then it's going to be surrounded by skin. Then you have the claw up here, and then you have the different digits, the fingers that come out from the arm. And they're going to be like here, and they'll have, you don't have to show all the detail of the fingers, but I want to show some. Then that's like a claw, so that's a digit. And so I'm just going to show that one there, since I don't want to run out of time. And then here I'm going to do something very similar to human anatomy. I'm going to have kind of give him a, he's going to have a breast, but his breast is going to kind of come down, unlike human anatomy, because all this is kind of being pulled down, which means his collarbone also pulls down. So this is just all stuff I'm imagining, similar to human, but not so. And then I'm taking ideas from other anatomy, different animals. So that's why you want to, like I said, it's really important to study as much anatomy as you can from different types of creatures, and that will give you a lot of ideas. Kind of have all these muscles wrapping around. And then here I would decide what kind of hand he would have. And I'm thinking he'd have kind of a human hand, but more claw-like, but I'm not going to get into actually drawing it. Kind of have this same kind of human muscle here, and where the why the rib is, and then a few more, and then he would come down into his leg region. And the leg is going to be a mixture of a lot of different animals, different creatures. And I have to decide how his leg is attached to his tail and stuff. And I'm going to take some cues from the human hip here, and kind of imagine he has his pelvis here like this, and then how it kind of rolls up into the leg and everything. And I'm going to kind of have a stop to the muscles there, so they all come down, kind of like a human. He'd have his belly button maybe even, and then you can even give him love handles and stuff, and that would all kind of come in and then fit into some sort of muscles here. And then I'm going to have horns growing off of his kneecaps. So for some evolutionary purpose, he had developed or evolved horns out of his kneecaps. His kneecaps just kept protruding until he had horns. And I'm thinking he's going to have kind of like a weird, almost human type thing going on here, but then no, not human. I meant like hoof type. Yeah, hoof. That's weird with the claw on the back. That's kind of interesting. And then he kind of have like spikes and scales or something as it came up here, almost like shardy spikes. And I can go into that. I'm almost out of time. So then his tail would come back off, it would connect off his back now. So this midsection, then now his tail is connecting from his back over there, and that's where it's continuing behind him. And he'd have his spike, his knee. This is kind of, mammalian here. It's kind of like a wolf in a way. Dog, it's reminiscent of a lot of a horse. And then he'd have the spikes and everything, so the tail would go behind the rock, and maybe have this kind of cool jutting looking rock. And that's it. I'm out of time. Sorry, folks. Maybe I'll do another one.